Australia. Oh, he's hit this one, Miles. Great shot. Oh, it's a biggie. Straight over the top. Kohli drives through the covers. It's into the fence like a tracer bullet.
Good evening, guys. Welcome back to just another cricket podcast. Yeah, I'd say, it's a bit of a shock, a surprise, two back-to-back episodes by GSCP after such a long hiatus. But that's how we are. We are inconsistent as Team India has been in major multi-format competitions. I hope, that they come out drums this time. Maybe, with the World Cup starting, the T20 World Cup starting with the preliminary matches today. And oh boy, what a start. First match, we didn't expect this to happen. But then again, a big major upset. Sri Lanka losing to minnows, so to say. You can perform in a good match on a particular day and then you stand to be a good enough team. But Namibia, for me, are definitely minnows. They do not stand to be defeating or, winning against top quality test nations. So this was a big enough, upset to start the tournament with, to start the prelims with. And then again, we had a very closely fought match between UAE and Netherlands. So this group is hotting up. Sri Lanka, will they be, booted out from the prelims itself? Because now they need to win the match against Netherlands. The Netherlands team seems suitable enough. They have players back from Australia, Tom Cooper and a couple of guys who are, based out of Australia, who play in Australia and know the conditions well. But to join me in today's discussion, I had given the premise to start off at very early itself, so not to contain my excitement much. But joining in today is Gopal after missing yesterday's, late night podcast. So welcome, Gopal, and of course my usual partner in crime, the big guy Shantan himself. So we're doing it a little early today, and we'll try to keep it crisp and short, as crisp as possible, so that we could build it up to the major matches that is coming up. T20 World Cup is a major tournament. All the top playing teams are playing in here. There are another 8 guys who are playing in the prelims. 4 of them will be going on to the top 12. So, and we also have the warm-up matches also starting from tomorrow, the major warm-up matches. So, guys, anything on the upset? What are your thoughts on the upset? Did you get to watch the match, if at all? Followed it, through and through? Maybe. Of course, it's an upset, but what are your thoughts on it? Gopal, if I may start with you.
Yes, Dipankar. So I was actually not following the match for the Namibia's innings, but when I saw the scorecard at 160, 164, or they had put down, and were asking Sri Lanka to chase down, and then Sri Lanka were 21 for 3. The upset was looking actually on the cards, but then there's a small partnership with Rajapaksha and Shanaka, and that is when I actually started watching the match. See, one thing was pretty clear, that the fielding of Namibia was outstanding today. They literally had dropped none. They were absolutely outstanding. They were actually playing like they were making a statement that we are no more a minnows. We are a good team. And on a given day, we can upset a top playing nation, and that is what happened today. One thing that probably I realized, and I don't know, that can happen. What happens if Sri Lanka becomes number 2 from this group and West Indies become number 1 from the other group, which means they join the India group, which means India has to defeat both of them and look forward into the semi-finals matches. So that is going to be a very, very trickier situation if that happens, because then you have almost the entire test playing nations, major of the test playing nations playing against India before even they go into semi-finals. If India manages to win well, of course, then finals is definitely a good position to be, but then that will be challenging for India as well.
Yeah, so we'll keep it for later, possibly. Of course, these assumptions will come into picture. A very good point brought up by you. Sri Lanka coming in second, West Indies topping the other group. But then again, I have my doubts with West Indies also with this current form. Although Zimbabwe, and we've got another good team there, but we'll come to that later. But Shantan, before I ask you some questions related to today's match, did you get to see the match? Did you see the match? Maybe a little highlights or something?
Yeah, so it was a busy Sunday for me. So ideally, I would have loved to see the match, but just saw, by the time I saw Sri Lanka match, they were almost six down, and the writing was already on the wall. I saw the later part of the UAE and Netherlands match, where I think they were only a couple of wickets down, and then they kept playing wrong shots, and there was some good bowling by UAE, especially their fast bowler, one of the guy who was getting the ball swinging back, and got a couple of them LBW and bowled out as well. Just one quick point on the Namibia match. See, Namibia reminds me of the South Africa team of
South
the
African.
90s.
These
So
guys are
don't
South Africans, by the way. These guys play
most of
group
these are.
level.
Yeah.
Yes, group level games
Yeah.
in South Africa. Yeah.
Correct. So, Namibia probably sounds like, okay, some African country and all, and they probably do not have a lot of facilities and all. They can surprise oppositions. And I think, when you look at the bigger picture, the ICC needs to back this team up and get them playing a little bit more matches only rather than only playing in these ICC events, because we need more teams. It cannot be a 8-country event or 8-country war of the sport, throughout. See, the second point is it's a T20, and you all would agree with me. This is one format where anyone can upset anyone only in a space of 2 to 3 overs, be it a batting side or a bowling side, right? So, keep your fingers crossed, hold on to your seats. There can be more upsets coming through the next 1 month.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So to your point, Shantan, I agree to your point. Agree to your point to a certain level, wherein you say that it's a world sport at the end of the day. Where we are lacking behind hockey, football, for that matter, is that we do not have that many nations representing cricket. But cricket is a long format. I mean, if you take T20 matches, it still goes for 4 hours. Whereas football or a hockey, they can finish within 1.5 to 2 hours. So I do understand the sentiment, but therein, when teams are making their B sides and C sides that strong, like take England, Australia, India, Pakistan, for that matter, Namibia and teams like these, they need much more exposure. And to that point, Akash Chopra tweeted that also today, saying that yeah, it's an upset. Good thing to see, if you're a cricket fan. But what about once the World Cup is over? What about what does Namibia do from here? But the reason why I asked this question, Gopal, I thought he must have seen the matches. Did you see the ground? It was a very untypical Australian ground to start with. This is some place called Geelong. I don't know where this. I mean, a new stadium. One side was 64 meters, the other side was 66 meters, and the straight sixes were 90 meters. So it was a very ovalish kind of a ground.
Correct.
And cross-batted shots were going through. One side of the pitch was fast enough, the other side was very slow. It was turning also.
Very slow. Yeah.
So I mean, very surprising kind of a track, wherein we are discussing that Australian tracks are going to spring up, fast, pacier. Geelong would not be there for the major matches. But what are your thoughts on the pitch? I mean, that's the reason why I asked Shantan, did he get to see the pitch?
Surprise.
I mean, it was a very surprising.
Surprise! It was a surprise. It was a surprise because Sri Lanka also had good spinners. I mean, Hazaranga was a good spinner. Tikshana was a good spinner. So I mean, allowing Namibia to score at 160 was in a slow turning track was actually a surprising factor. Maybe Sri Lanka didn't expect this upset. They didn't expect that the opening spell of Namibia, I mean, they're going to put them into trouble at 21 for 3 and then they'll not be able to recover it out. And I mean, it's too early to judge the pitch and the conditions. But yes, to your point, I was not happy. I mean, some of the shots that Sri Lankan also played, that the cross-batted shots, probably would have gone for a 6 in, say, Dubai or Abu Dhabi. It was actually because of your wind and cross winds, the ball was not traveling and it was actually swirling around in the ground itself, and hence it was not moving into that particular 6. It was all within the ground itself. So that could be one of the very big factors that comes in Australia, actually, because of the, as you have already discussed, bigger grounds. But surprising pitch, but good. I mean, it was a good game. I mean, you allowed one team to score 160, and then I mean that team had that the bandwidth to come back and rested them to out. And it was not a close match. It was not a 7 runs victory or any victory. It was a 55 runs victory. It was drubbing. So
yes. So this what happened was the last. I think Namibia won it in the last 5 overs, like when they were setting the score for themselves. They scored around 70 runs in those last 5 overs, and that too, the 6th wicket partnership was a 7th wicket partnership, which was a huge thing for them. So Shantan, the thing that we were discussing, we discussed this even yesterday as to if fit, do we get our big guns in without any match practice? I think that same thing happened with Sri Lanka today also, wherein Dushmantha Chamira just walked into the side because of reputation, because of whatever, but he did not look the part at all. He did not bowl a single ball over 135, wherein he clocks 140 plus consistently. He got hit for runs. I think he gave around 10 RPO, 10 runs per over. And just because his name precedes himself, he was walked into the side. Although one of their major bowlers also got injured.
Injured.
So the other guy, the lefty who bowled Virat Kohli in that Asia Cup match, Madhushanka.
Madhushanka.
Yes. So, do you think this is a good tactic, keeping in mind Shaheen Shafir is also working in for Pakistan? Mohammad Shami, without any match practice, will be 100% playing for India. Do you think this is the perfect way of doing it, or the ones who've been building this team up to the tournament should be the ones who should be given an opportunity first?
Yeah. So really depends on which team you're talking about, right? So does India have a better option? Whom do you play? Do you play a Harshal Patel who has been given runs? I would rather play Shami. I mean, if someone needs to give run, let Shami be the guy, because Harshal for a consistent period didn't had a good outing, right? So it really depends. Secondly, it's a small format of the game. You just go and give your 100% on those 4 overs. Really depends on how you're getting conditioned in the last 1 or 2 weeks that you're getting, right? So because see, cricket is different these days. It's no more a bit of batting and a fielding and a catching, a bowling drill. It's a lot more mental. It's a lot more with your body and to get you match ready. I know it's not as perfect as what it will be in a real match, but Shami will still get a couple of practice matches, right? And then you talked about Chamira coming into this match, but while I haven't seen bulk of the match, see, strategies are going to be very important in this World Cup in this part of the world. A month and a half ago, I mentioned that dimensions are going to be important. I think I saw 3 or 4 Sri Lankan wickets where they were trying to hit straight sixes, where you are
Which is
at
the
the
longest
longest
part.
part of the
Yes.
boundary, versus trying to even do cuts or even try those singles and doubles and all, right? So it's important that you have your strategies known, from which end you're getting your spinners bowling and so on. See, in this form of the game, it's not unusual for a bowler to go for 10 runs and over, right? If you have a bad day, even your best bowlers can get tonked out of the park, right? And to your point, I don't think you will get these dead pitches in real matches. Those will be fast, hard. Ball will be coming onto the bat. It will be good for the batsman, as well as if you bowl fast and well, you'll probably get something out. If spinners get to spin the ball well from a good length spot, it's not going to be easy hitting them out of these big boundaries and all, right? So I think, again, coming back to your main question, we don't have option, right? Shami is our only option. Let's just hope that he gets well conditioned before the match and he plays those couple of practice matches. These days the players are so fragile. You just look at this, and I was just wondering, what if a couple of your key players get injured in the practice matches, right? You don't have a lot of
No other option.
replacements.
Absolutely.
So,
What about Shaheen? So,
so
what are your thoughts on Shaheen? Should he be brought back?
see, I mentioned yesterday, I'm absolutely sure he didn't had a full blown surgery for sure, right? And the kind of quality that Shaheen has, even if he brings 70% of it into the ground, it's actually more than the player himself. It's a lot to do with the mind, right? So just think of Rohit Sharma facing or KL Rahul facing and Shaheen bowling the first over. It's going to be nerves, right? You'll say whatever you want to say. It's going to be the butterfly bellies that you'll have in the ground, not only for the players, but for us as well, watching it, right? Don't bowl the Yorkers, or, because even with his Yorkers, the swing is so late that he'll still either hit your toe or he'll sneak past your stump. So even a 70% fit Shaheen, I would play him because it's just 4 overs. It's not a long test match, unless and until it's a niggle that they should have rested. But that's the doctors and the team management knows better.
I'll just add this point, one more point to what
Sure.
Shahindan said.
Yeah.
When Shaheen will play, I mean, if Shaheen plays in the India-Pakistan match, you have two dimensions of bowlers for India to face. I mean, see it from the Rohit or KL Rahul's angle. You have a left-armer, fast left-armer, who is going to swing the ball in. And then you have Nazim Shah from the other end, who's going to be as quick and going to move the ball outside. So,
That is
and
tough.
See, honestly, I'll tell you what, probably thinking a lot. It's just that 1 or 2 overs from Shaheen.
true,
You
true.
will have Nasim Shahs and all. They just need
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
You remember?
Yes.
You remember that match that India lost in the Asia Cup? The way Rahul and Rohit started, right? What 70 odd in 5 overs or 60 odd. See, all you need is 1 over that you need to see past, and your feet moving a little bit well. You get a couple of balls in the middle of the bat. Every bowler will get hit. Okay.
Right.
The key for India is to bowl well. Every time India defeated Pakistan, it's not because of their batting. Just look at the scores and all. It's only
It
because
was
of their bowling,
bowling.
right? So India needs to bowl well. Even if they get to 160, 170 runs, they need to bowl and they need to field well. That's it.
So with that question in mind, Gopal, I mean, we kind of touched this topic yesterday also, wherein you must have heard, or Shantanu also mentioned
Yep.
it, that Rohit has said that our top 11 is fixed for the matches, for the first few matches or for the match against Pakistan. So ideally, that top 11 should be playing the match against Australia tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning.
Yes.
So who, according to you, are the ones who should be featuring in the top 11? Who do you think is going to play, and who do you think, according to you, should be playing? I mean, your predicted 11 as the one as against the one that you want to see on the park with the
I hope
current
you have not seen the
15.
video. You have not seen
Which
the video
video?
and you have not heard our predicted
No, I'm
11.
not. I'm
Oh,
not.
okay,
But then
okay.
I'm not heard the predicted 11 because I was watching the match. But then it's going to be straightforward. I think Shami is going to play instead of Bumrah. I think
No, don't
Arshdeep.
start from the beginning.
1, 2, 3, 4.
1 to 11. Who are your
Rahul,
in the
Rahul,
order?
Rohit.
Rahul Rohit,
right?
Rahul Rohit,
Hmm.
Kohli, Sky,
Hmm.
Pant, DK,
Pant,
Who will
Hardik.
play
DK.
Punt?
Pant,
Pant.
DK, Hardik. Okay, 7.
7. Bhuvneshwar Kumar, 8. Ashdeep, 9.
9.
Shami, 10.
Shami, 10.
I have a choice between Aksar and Chahal, but
Okay.
given that Aksar can still bowl that power play over for me, I might still go ahead with Aksar.
So you're
So no
going
Chahal for
basically
you.
with 5 bowlers. There is no sixth bowler in your team.
I mean,
क्या
but
पंत से बॉलिंग कराएगा क्या या डीके से बॉलिंग कराएगा?
जरूरत नहीं है मैं बोल रहा हूँ. I mean, I'm
So you're
saying,
taking 8 batters. If you consider Aksar, you're taking 8 batters basically.
but he's an all rounder, na, Shayantan.
Yeah, but then
So
you
he's
have
saying-
only 4 bowlers and Hardik, na? He has
Correct.
Aksar, Hardik, Bhuvi, Arshdeep, and Shami, na?
Yes.
Basically 4 fast bowlers and 1 spinner.
I'm just hoping that my batsman will give me that runs and the bowlers has to defend it out.
But
So
then,
this is
then
the
you're
difference
making your
between-
bowling weak.
See, the only point of contention could come here is drop. Maybe, I mean, you can't drop DK, so you have to drop Punt. Either
Yes.
you bring Huda in because he will give you some additional bowling of spin, or you may have to go ahead with Harshal Patel.
Harshal Patel for you. Okay. Fair enough. So that's what your predicted 11 is. I
A
and
bit of
Shantanu,
contrast from what me and
Yes.
Devankur had spoken about.
we
at
wanted
least.
Chahal.
Acha.
Chahal in place of
We
Patel, but
wanted
Aksar
Chahal
plays.
and we wanted to go with 6 batters and 5
And
bowlers.
Aksar.
See
But I think-
that is what. See, today I'll tell you, we don't have that luxury, and that is what. I mean, today morning when we were playing it out in Chennai, we were talking about it. Deepak Char, I mean, if fit, completely fit, would have actually given us that flexibility of both batting and bowling for us. And he's a decent enough batsman, a decent enough bowler to play with. Nice opening bowler, swings the ball. Ideal could have been a condition in Australia for him to prove it out. His bounce, I mean, the wicket bounce will suit him to bowl in that pace. And he's injured right now, so we don't have that luxury now.
Yeah. So Devankur, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just thinking of moving a little out of the India topic because we are going to speak a lot about India on Saturday. I just wanted to know from you, who do you think is going to be, let's say, a dark horse, but you don't expect, and that team doing really well, and who is that one team that you think is definitely going to play in the finals? And you're not
Finals, I
answering
think-
as an Indian, as a cricket
No,
fan.
no. Yes, absolutely. I think England will be playing the final for sure. of all the teams, even England performing there in Australia currently, I think England definitely is going to feature in the finals. Dark horse again. I'll keep Sri Lanka in my mind. Sri Lanka or West Indies as the dark horses, because I don't consider Pakistan a dark horse. Pakistan is the main contender right now. So I mean, if Pakistan wouldn't have played the Asia Cup well, I would have kept them as a dark horse. But for me, a dark horse, even Sri Lanka winning the Asia Cup, they have not been consistent enough to be considered as a top team right now. So for me, dark horses are two right now: West Indies, Sri Lanka, and of course one of the definite playing nation would be England.
You're saying Sri Lanka, who probably will get crashed out of the prelims.
Probably yes,
so you're saying you're so confident that you're saying that Sri Lanka is going to definitely come into the final 12,
yes,
and then
yes,
do so well
yes,
that they'll probably go in the final 4 as well.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yes. I cannot deny that because I ridiculed you when you say that you said that for Asia Cup, but you were right. Even
Asia
Gopal
Cup,
mentioned that.
this was the same kind of thing that they did in Asia Cup. They faltered badly against Afghanistan in the first match, although it was not that big a tournament wherein there were many matches to play. But then again, as Gopal has been pointing out from day one, they were almost kicked out by Bangladesh, but for Bangladesh stupidity, Sri Lanka won that match, and then they went on to win the Asia Cup. So yeah, maybe another fairy tale happening of that sorts, maybe. Yeah. So just to conclude, maybe this discussion, this topic for today, and try to build it up for the upcoming major matches. So couple of questions. One is, how much serious do you think the Australian team would be for tomorrow's match, and what is their predicted 11? I mean, they are also going through a lot of injury scares and everything. Would Cameron Green be playing the matches? I mean, he has been drafted into top 15 right now. So do you think Cameron Green is being considered as the opener as he did in India, and Aaron Finch dropping down? What are your thoughts, guys? I mean, one by one. I mean, Gopal, if you want to go first.
I really feel Cameron Green. I mean, Australia with the long term process that into looking into it, and Green doing so well. I really feel they'll look for Green to come up on the order.
Who opens?
Green and Warner. Yes.
And Finch comes one down.
Finch comes one down. I mean, we don't have a choice, but we'll have to move Steve Smith out of the squad because Finch is the captain. Then you have your then you have the normal people. You have Mitchell Marsh, you have Glenn Maxwell, you have Matthew Wade, and then you have Stoinis. And power packed lineup actually. All four of them.
Is Mitchell Marsh going to play? I think is he? I think being rested or something.
No, he's playing. He's playing in the. He played in the England series, na? So I was, while you guys were saying, so it's against India, and the playing 11 for tomorrow's practice match is announced, and it's Devonpur, exactly the team that you had selected.
Oh, nice.
What was that?
Great.
Yeah. So it's Rohit, Rahul, Kohli, Yadav, Sky, Pandya, DK, Aksar, Chahal, Arshdev, Bhuvi, and Shami.
That's what. I mean, punt and Chal has been swapped.
Yeah. And see, I mean, you are in that league or leg of the tournament where you don't need any more experiments. You have seen enough in the last 20-30 matches. You know which is your best option to play. Just go with them. Honestly, I don't think these practice matches, any of these teams would want to give it their 100% to win, because trust me, guys, last year practice matches, I think India defeated both England and Australia, I think, or South Africa or Australia, and they lost to Pakistan. So all you need is your key players to get good outings, your bowlers to bowl good 4 overs, your batters to spend some time in the middle, and you come out of the match without taking an injury, because this is a long tournament and you don't want your key players to get injured. It's not only true for India, it's true for all the teams.
So has the Australian squad been also announced?
No, the Australian team is not announced, it seems like. Ideally they should have. But I'm keen to see what do they do with Finch, because he's the captain, but he's going nowhere with his batting and scoring runs.
He will not, Shantan. I think the irony will be if everything goes well and listen this, the irony will be Finch will be the first captain to defend the ICC title, and he will be dropped from the T20 squad.
But who's going to drop him?
Sorry?
Unless he drops himself. Unless he drops himself.
He'll drop himself.
Yeah, because I think that
he will-
is there with the Australians. You've
he will
seen
def-
that in Ricky Ponting
he will,
as well, right?
he
In
will
Mumbai Indians.
defend the title if in all probabilities. I mean, they look to me the best squad in defending the title, and if they do that, I mean, if they don't do it, of course, Finch will.
Why do
definitely
you
drop
say
down.
so? They look the best squad. They lost to Zimbabwe. I know it's a 50-over match. They almost lost 3-0 to England a few days ago. They have their own set of problems. Steve Smith, their probably best batter, is not there in the 11. Cameron Green, the couple of matches he played in these big grounds looked out of sort. Their bowlers are getting tongue for a lot of runs, be it Hazelwood or Stark and all. And they do not have someone who, probably the only assured batsman that I see is in Matthew Wade, who comes lower down the order and then
Tim David
converts
and
something.
Tim David
Right. So
and Stoinis, the X Factors, they have been playing well. Only these
yeah,
guys have been playing well.
but even Stoinis just came back a couple of matches ago.
Shanta, the only X factor with the Aussies is, see, they have Maxwell, they have Marsh, they have
Was
Stoinis.
terribly out of form. Maxwell is
They-
terribly out of form.
They have Stoinis, they have now Green. These
Tim
four
David
people.
also.
No, but just don't go by the names, right? I mean, if just heavy names would have won you tournaments, then India would have won so many in the last 10,
True.
11 years, right?
True that.
But
True.
go by their recent performance, their form,
We will see.
the results. They've lost against India as well.
Correct. I mean, see, I in a bigger tournament, and probably I'll just touch upon that particular question that you just put. In a bigger tournament, I see Australia doing really well. In no surprises. And one of the dark horses, Debankur probably missed it out. My dark horses for this tournament will be New Zealand. I will bang my. I mean, for any ICC tournaments, they really do well. So I mean, they will be my dark horses. I won't be surprised. I won't be surprised if they go into go and play the final in the month of November.
Yeah. So Rajiv is going to get double bonanza.
Huh? Rajiv, yeah, exactly.
Rajiv is going to get a double bonanza.
Yeah, he's going to get it. And suppose if India plays, then it will be a double bonanza for him.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Okay, I think
So-
I think so. So just quickly, so Devanku, your dark horse is Sri Lanka. Okay.
Mhm.
Your dark horse, Gopal, is New Zealand. My dark horse, if they actually do well, it's either India or Pakistan who will not be going to the semis, is South Africa. Okay. Let's see.
Yeah.
See,
So
South Africa also.
I
because
have
the
a couple of
pace
points. Before, so
Go ahead.
two things here. I mean, all these teams.
So
South
Devanku,
Africa,
we just have
Australia,
about 5 minutes left.
Yeah. So we'll just wrap it up. But wanted to touch on a couple of points here. South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, all of these teams have these captains who are not performing to the truest of forms. Somebody who should not be captaining at all. And to Gopal's point as to what do they do if they win the tournament, will they step down? I think a major point, in fact, was Owen Morgan himself. Like when he stepped down, he was the reigning champions, like both sides. So to me, I mean, South Africa does have a chance, but they do not gel well. I mean, to Gopal's point, where he said was Australia is a different kettle of fish altogether when ICC tournaments come into picture because they know how to gel as a team. And that's what they showed in the last World Cup also. They couldn't perform in T20 matches because the team composition was not coming in well, which they actually showed in adverse conditions in Dubai the last year. So many more things like this to cover up when we keep on discussing on these points. Can
I just add one last
please.
point before you end?
Please.
I know you're there to end. Just a quick tip to the Indian team if they're watching this podcast or if they watch this podcast in future. One quick tip against the match with South Africa: don't get Bahuma out. Make him play 40 balls. Make him play 50 balls. Let him score 60 runs. Don't get him out. I'm serious about this. You will ensure that you win the match.
Point enough. So, with this kind of small token of advice from Shanton to Rohit Sharma and team, wherein we are discussing match against South Africa, which is going to come in a little later. We intend to finish today's episode. I hope you've enjoyed, watching this as much. We had enjoyment presenting it out to you. Discussing cricket is always fun. So let's hope that, the tournament brings up much more surprises. And we also hope at the receiving end, it's not India. And India goes on to farewell, because at heart we're Indians, we want them to farewell. So saying that, it's, bye-bye time for this episode. And we'll see you soon in the next episode. So till then, stay happy, stay strong. Bye. Good night.
Take care. Good night, everyone.
Take care. Bye bye.